like three classes today, right?
Yeah,
And all three are going live.
it looks like it. Yeah.
Yes. Okay, making you host again, and you're live.
Thank you very much.
See you in your next class.
See
So,
me in
bye
my
bye.
next class. Bye. Good morning, Nancy. Good morning. Right. Welcome to class. Right. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Get Set Up. Today we are going to be covering making snacks with grandma. Often we have our little ones visiting us, or big ones for that matter, and they are forever hungry. They seem to have hollow legs and are ready to be eating the minute they walk in your door. Today we're going to learn some simple snacks that are fun to create as well as fun to eat. And so with that, we are able to give them wholesome food that ticks all the boxes, but also makes it an enjoyable experience for both you and your grandchildren. Today, with our live streaming, we are going to have people popping in and out of class, having a look-see as to what is happening, and welcome to anybody who is here at the moment. Right, let's begin by sharing our screens. Now, today we are going to do simple snacks, not difficult things, because as soon as it starts getting difficult, it is a problem. Sorry, I do need to do my recording. Sorry, I do need to record. Oh, come on. Not sure what is going on here. Ah, there we are. We're connecting to. Right. Sorry about that. I had forgotten to press record. Now, we want to make things as simple as possible, but also as fun as possible. So let's see what we're making today. We're going to learn from each other. We're going to learn exciting ways and exciting things to do. And as we watch and learn, so different ideas suddenly start to spark. And when they are sparking, we are then thinking of more and more things that we can do. Live streamers, the best way to participate is to join us and register for a class, and Get Set Up isn't paid for any product that may be mentioned on the way. It's just something that I use. Right. I live in Australia. I'm an educator. I've been an educator for 44 years, and I still enjoy educating. I enjoy creating and making things, including puzzles, any kind of puzzle, logic puzzles, brain teasers, and of course, jigsaw puzzles. Those are my ultimate favorite. I have a great love of animals. And with this love of animals, I have made my series on Australian animals and African animals. I enjoy being a get-up guide. I enjoy mixing with others who are the same age as me, working with my peers. It has been such a privilege to work with so many amazing people. One of the most important things about cooking with your grandchild is to make sure you have fun and they have fun. It's no use making it a stressful time, because if you do, they're not going to want to cook, because now there is pressure. So what you need to do is make sure everything is simple. The simpler the idea or recipe that you're using, the better. Don't stress if it doesn't work out. So what? As long as they've had fun and as long as they want to eat it. Sometimes it doesn't work out at all, and then unfortunately you have to bin it because it's just inedible. But that's very rare and very unusual, because you're watching what's going in. You are guiding them on their way. Old clothes are essential because those hands get gooey, sticky, dirty, and they don't think. The first thing they do is put the hand behind their back and rub on their trousers. And this, you can get into trouble from mum and dad because they might be a good pair of trousers. So what I suggest is you take a dustbin bag, a white one, a blue one, a green one. They don't really like the black ones. And cut a slit at the top on the closed end and a little slit going down so it's big enough to go over their head, 2 arms for them to be able to put their armholes through, and now they are covered from head to toe. And it really doesn't matter how dirty they get. They can very easily take that off afterwards. You put it into some soapy water, hang it on the line, and it's ready for the next time. So that is, for me, the simplest way of doing things. Now, feeding our kids and grandkids is a very important thing. They get hungry at any time. And so it's best to make snacks that fill the tummy, not only for the moment, but also for several hours after. So make sure there's fiber in it and there's protein in it if possible. If you're working with fruit, obviously not, but a combination of different things will certainly fill those gaps and keep the hunger pangs at bay until it's dinner time or lunchtime. But also make it enticing. If you just get a blob on your plate, who wants to eat a blob? I don't. So if you make it into something that is interesting, they will then be able to really enjoy it. Looking at the little picture we have here, this is just simply taking an apple and a kiwi fruit and turning that, and a strawberry for the nose. But if you haven't got a strawberry, you can even use a piece of paper. And they, just by cutting the apple in different ways, you can make a body, the feathers for the wings, the eyes for the owl, and then just some little feathered feet by cutting up your apple. What I do have one rule: what you touch, you eat. So if you take something and put it on your plate, you're going to be using it, you've got to eat it. You can't put it back into the bowl or back into the container. For different ages, you have different things. If they are your teenagers, you put the whole fruits out and they are then able to cut them into slices or whatever they want to do. For the younger ones, you would slice into different shapes so that they've got the shapes ready to make their designs. And then once they've made their designs, they can eat it. They don't have to eat it all at once. They can eat it over a time before the next meal. But make it a rule, they can't have their lunch until they've finished their snack, particularly if it's a fruity, healthy snack. So let's see what we're making today. Fruit animals and cars. What a fun way to eat an apple. A lovely way to eat an apple. Hello, Susan. Lovely to have you in class. A lovely way to eat an apple is to turn it into a car. And simply using just 2 grapes and a piece of apple, I've got lots of little toothpicks or skewers, depending on what we're making. If they're younger, take the end off, take the sharp end off. They can still push it through quite easily. Older, just warn them, no pricking, because it's great to go and prick your sister or brother or cousin. So no pricking is part of the rules. But now you've got fun things to do. They can have a race with their cars, and the car that wins the race is the car that gets eaten, or the car that doesn't win the race will be the car that is eaten. So there are all different things that are there and able to be eaten and done. You've also got grapes and strawberries. What a wonderful combination, grapes and strawberries together. Now, for my eyes, I use tiny little balls of mozzarella cheese. If you just roll it into a tiny little ball, it makes a wonderful eye on your and then you can just make, by pushing your toothpick into it, it actually makes a dent, and that dent looks like an eye. If you want to use a pen of some description, you get food soluble pens that are non-toxic, and you can just make a dot with that, and that can also do your eyes. So you can create a variety of animals, a variety of creatures, your owls, your worms, your bugs, your beetles, your cars. And once they start making things, then they start creating further with their things. I've seen children that have decided, oh, a car around like that, that's boring. I want to make an open car. So they cut out a section, and they even have taken Lego and popped the Lego in. Now the Lego is driving the car that they have created using just your apples and your grapes for your circles. You could also, if you don't want to use grapes, you can use cherries, as long as you've taken the pit out of the cherry. Any rounded small fruit is ideal for the wheels. Anybody got any questions or queries before I continue? Okay, right. Now, lunchtime snacks. This snack is a snack that my husband and I often eat. It's delicious, and it's made a mini zucchini pizza. Because of the flour in the pizza, it's not as healthy as to eat. This pizza is 100% healthy. It's made purely with vegetables. So you take your zucchini, depending on how big your zucchini is, that is the size of your pizza slice. You preheat my oven and you put your zucchini on it. I always add a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper to it, just so that it, and in fact, if it's not for the grandchildren, a little bit of a few garlic flakes on it, and I bake it. And then I turn it over until you can see it goes translucent. So then you know it is ready to be eaten. Then just when that's ready, I then add anything I want. I can add a bit of pepperoni. I can put some tomato paste on if I want to. I very often don't even worry with that. I put my cheese. I put whatever, a little bit of chicken on it, a little bit of pepperoni, a little bit of what else have I put on there? Ham. I've put leftover mince on there. Anything that you've got a little of, and then pop it back into the oven just long enough for the cheese to melt. I like to use a cheese with a bite. So I use something that is mature, and then it gives it that lovely flavor, that nice biting flavor. And so you can then put that on, because for me, mozzarella cheese doesn't have enough flavor. I'm not great on sauces like pizza sauce, not for health reasons mainly. So I would rather put a little bit of tomato paste, put my cheese on, put my flavoring on, and then put a nice bitey cheese at the top. That just, even a little bit of mustard gives it that extra zing. For the children, you obviously make it blander. They choose what they want to put on it. And basil always gives it that lovely fresh taste. I've got fresh basil, which I chop up very finely, and then I put that in it as well. And it makes the most delicious lunchtime snack for any age. It doesn't have to be for children. But if you're not going to be cooking, there are other snacks you can make. You can use a croissant and turn it into a crab. You can using a sausage as the legs and the pincers out in front. You can also take your bread, and just by cutting it into different shapes, you can make it into cats and dogs and fish and elephant and any creature you wish to make. You can also make little people out of your chicken nuggets and or little fish balls. You can put those through. They make part of the body, the arms, the legs, the head. And so you can create your characters. You can make robots. You can turn your ordinary hamburger into a bug or a beetle. And then you've just got by just opening it, that little bit on the top gives it its wings. And suddenly it's a creature. Suddenly it's got character. Use 2 pieces of carrot for the eyes. And now all of a sudden your ordinary hamburger has become something really fun to eat and fun to play with. Well, you don't play with food though, but it just gives you that appeal. When you look at it, I want to eat it. And so there are so many ideas. If you are wanting to go for maybe a healthy lunch of like a salad, instead of just putting the salad into a bowl and they eat the salad, turn your salad into a picture. Your lettuce can be the grass at the bottom. You can have little pieces of chicken that you have done, and put those into little strips and use those as the bark of the tree. The top of your tree can be your cucumber, your tomato can be little mushrooms. And so your mind just goes. And if the children are a little reticent at first, you can show them a few pictures, but you take them away. You don't want them copying it. You want their creativity. You want them to start trying new things. They're so used to looking at their devices and everything is there on the device. They don't have to think. Now you're wanting them to start using their creative juices in a different form. And by letting them create their lunch and create a design and then eat their lunch, it now becomes an experience rather than just eating lunch. So this is one of my favorite lunches, are the mini zucchinis. Another fun one to do is with carrot. Quite often children say, ugh, carrots, don't want to eat a carrot. Well, if you grate up your carrot and you put it together with cheddar cheese or any other cheese that has got a flavor to it, And again, simple, simple, simple. Cheddar cheese, a few some breadcrumbs, some olive oil, chopped garlic, teaspoon of salt, 2 eggs, and your shredded carrots. You can bring all of this down if you're making a smaller quantity for a smaller number of people. So you can always divide your menu up and your recipe up into shorter and smaller pieces. You are now able to put it all together in a bowl. So there's no, oh, this has to be done and that has to be done and this. I do like to beat the egg before I put it in. I just find it works better when it's already beaten. And then all you do is take the mixture into little patties and put them on a baking sheet. And then you cook them at 450 degrees in a hot oven for 20 minutes. And they become kind of crispy. And you can flatten them and then you place them all on top of each other. You can make a tower of them. You can eat them individually. And they are delicious. You can put mayonnaise with them if you want. You can put cream cheese in between, and you can make a cake with a little bit of cream cheese as your layers between. Also makes it really tasty. And you can freeze them afterwards or keep them in an airtight container for a day or so. And then they are really a fun way of eating your vegetables. It's turned into something different. And so I really would suggest you try these with them because they've got such a different and unique taste. You can obviously taste the carrot in there, but you're not crunching on a carrot. You are then able to enjoy them. And because they've made them, that makes all the difference. If they've made them, they want to eat them. If you've made them, they might say, don't like carrots very much, Grandma. Can we have something else? Because they know Granny's a pushover and will probably give them something different. But doing it themselves, helping you to cook, that is amazing. If they are small, get a little stool for them to stand on so that they are virtually the same height as you, even if it's on a ladder and you turn a little ladder sideways back to front and they stand on the steps of the ladder and they are able to see into everything that you are doing. If you are working with more than one grandchild, I suggest you divide the ingredients into 2 bowls. They each make their own. Otherwise, that's she had more time doing it or he had more time doing it, not fair. If they've each got their own and they can each have their own, you divide your baking sheet in half. This side is the ones, this side is the other. They see them going in, they see them coming out. These are mine, and everybody is happy. Then it's wonderful because they have made theirs. They can then take some home for mom and dad, and they are very proud of everything that they've made. Any questions? No questions today. Right. Now, ever heard of a cake that doesn't have any flour, sugar, egg, or anything else like that in it? Well, this is your pineapple sprinkles cake. It's made purely with fruit. You cut up your pineapple into slices, and between each slice, you put a mixture of cream cheese and yogurt. You can also put a little honey in it if you want, if you're thinking it's a little too plain. Or their taste is. If they're going to put some sugar in, use stevia cooking sugar. That tastes the same, but has not got the sugar content, that the raw sugar content, because nowadays we are very conscious of the amount of sugar that children take in. So I use my baking stevia for all the time. You can get it in any supermarket. There are all different brands of it. Just make sure it's it's stevia. Then you can use erythritol as well. You can use, there's another one as well. I just use stevia because I know it's natural. Right. Cut your pineapple into slices, and then you combine your cream cheese and yogurt and your sugar, and then just layer it between it. You can also make single layer cakes where it's just one piece of pineapple, some of the topping on it, put a few sprinkles on top, and they've got a one layer cake or a two or a three or a four layer cake. And they really enjoy it. I find very often we do a one layer cake because then they're just eating one piece of pineapple at a time. And then once, in fact, they then cut it in half or quarters, take their piece and go off to play, come back, take another piece, go off to play. And so they eat it that way. I find by cutting up any kind of fruit into bits, it saves a fortune, because if you have little ones and you give them a whole apple, they take a bite. Now they want to play. So they put it down, go off to play, come back. Oh, the ants have got it. Or, oh, it's dirty. I can't eat the apple anymore. So if you cut it up into bits and they come and take bite-sized bits, even bananas, if you chop them up with the skin still on, and then they take a piece, they can take the skin off that piece, they pop it in their mouth, they can go and play, come back, get another piece, go and play. And that way you find that there's very little wastage, and it's good on the pocket as well. All of these things you can actually make with your grandchildren virtually. I have virtual grandchildren as well as grandchildren where I live. And with virtual grandchildren, mom and dad just get the recipe ready, and then on Zoom, we then work together on Zoom. And it's a fun time. It's a one time that you can actually bond with the child that is so far away from you that you can't actually be there to be with them. And particularly with the pandemic, we are unable to travel. We can't go and be with our families as we used to. So it's so much nicer. And also, our families have moved. Some of them are overseas. Some of them are on different continents. Some of them are in different states. And in this way, you are able to stay in contact with your grandchildren. And it's a very special time. You don't want to miss out on their growing up. Now, quick snacks and treats. The first picture we've got here is an owl. It's made with some Fruit Loops, some nut butter, apples and bananas, and then I think we used not blackberries, but blueberries. We use some blueberries for the eyes. You can also use dark grapes for the eyes as well. A little piece of cheese in the center as the nose is always very useful. Now, what if you have children who have an allergy to nuts, and it's a very serious allergy that people can get? I've had experience of a child not being able to breathe within seconds in my classroom. So I'm very aware of nuts. So if it's just with your grandchildren and you know they are not nut allergic, then use your peanut butter. But if there's a chance that somebody might be allergic to peanuts that is going to be in the environment with these, rather than use one of the other nut butters, such as your almond nut butter, your macadamia nut butter, any of those, because there's less chance of allergy. Most children, if they're allergic to peanuts. So you use your nut butter as your spread. If you are a little worried, what you can do is you can take cream cheese, just add a tiny bit of tomato sauce to the cream cheese, so that it doesn't stay white, unless of course you want a white front to your bird. If you don't, it just discolors it enough to make it kind of brown looking, and you can use cream cheese on there as well. You can then put your fruit on top of that and your Fruit Loops to make the feathers in the front, and you've got a wonderful owl. Your little worms in the center are your little baby cherry tomatoes and little bits of mozzarella, little mozzarella balls. And you don't even need to join them together with a skewer, you can just place them on, and then it can make a worm that twists and turns. The last one is Grandma's Treat. You make this with a piece of banana and dark chocolate or milk chocolate, depending on which you prefer, dark chocolate being the healthier one to use. And you dip it in and you let it go drip down the back of the banana as well. And then you just use a Smartie or an M&M as the nose, and possibly the bigger nut M&Ms or the big chocolate M&Ms as the feet. And they love it. This is their penguin dessert, and they really enjoy eating the penguin dessert. They make it with you, and that, of course, is what is so special. Now, how do we do fruit? Fruit salad is boring. You sit there and you've got this bowl of mixed fruit. What do I do with I like this out of it. Do I have to eat that? Make your own dessert, make your own fruit. You can, if they are into animals or insects, let them make an insect. You cut the fruit into different shapes and pieces. They then take it and create a picture with it. Once the picture is created, they can then eat their picture. And they have such fun looking at each other's, designing their own. They can make monster creatures, small creatures, ones that really do look like the creature they're supposed to be, ones that don't look like what they think they're making. Then it just becomes a monster version of whatever they're making. And a strawberry can be turned into the most awesome octopus, and an apple can be turned into a crab. You can also make a scene. You can have banana and kiwi fruit and a mandarin at the bottom. I call them nachos, but the mandarin at the bottom. Now I've got a tropical scene. Oh, where are you? No, we're on the beach today. We are having fun on the beach, and we've created our beach scene, or we're on a desert island. They can then go and play a game or go and do something to do with a desert island. Have some fun. Do a treasure hunt afterwards. That then teams up with what they've made. Or if you want to beforehand, say to them, right, we're going to an island today. Create something that you will find on the island. Now, it can be anything from a crab to a palm tree, to a treasure chest, to butterflies, bugs, beetles, anything like that. And then afterwards, do a treasure hunt with them. Now they're looking for their treasure that goes with it. And at the end, they can be a treasure box. I guess, yeah. And inside the treasure box, you've got treasure for them. And that can be the extra dessert afterwards is their little bit of treasure that they have. So there are so many ways that you can turn one activity to flow into the next activity. And this is important as well, is that there's a flow without it being, we're doing this, then we're doing this, no, let it flow. And if they're not feeling, they're not inclined to that, change it. Decide, right, we're not going to do that. What would you like to do? How would you like to do that? No iPads when you're at grandma, not unless it's the end of the day and everybody's tired. Spend quality time with them. There's so often we think we're doing quality time with our grandchildren, but we're not. We're busy sewing or we're doing something different. And yes, we're listening to them and they're talking and we're talking, but we're not actually giving them quality time. By doing something like this with them, create your own one at the same time with them. So now you are part of what they're doing. So they see you are in and just as interested in doing what they're doing. If you do the banana treat at the which is the bottom right-hand corner, that each person can be given 2 halves of a banana or 1 half of a banana. And then you put what you think is the most interesting topic from whatever has been supplied. Then you chop it up into pieces according to the number of people that are around the table, and everybody gets to taste everybody else's. Which one was the most interesting flavor? Which one was the most sour? Which one was the sweetest? Which one do you think you would like to make yourself? Again, if not your own, but somebody else's. Which one would you like to try? And so it's all a positive experience of tasting, trying, and seeing. While you're doing it, you can talk about your taste buds. Where are your taste buds? No, they're not on top of your tongue. They're around the edge of your tongue. And sweet is in the front, then salty, then sour, and finally at the back, the bitter. And so then you can talk about it. What happens if I put food in the middle of my tongue? Nothing. I can't taste anything until the saliva takes it down to the edge and I can taste the different tastes. So all of these sort of things you can do and just have as incidental talking with them. They're not in class. They are having fun with you, but you're just popping in little bits of information at the same time. It's a wonderful way to learn, is when they are interacting with you. Why is this, Granny? What can we do with that, Granny? How does this work, Granny? And then you are able to tell them. If you don't know, don't fudge it. They'll soon know that they'll find out that you told them something that wasn't right, and then the respect disappears. So always, if you don't know the answer, just say, I don't know, let's find out. Take your phone, speak to Siri and say, Siri, how do you do this? And you'll get a reply straight away, and everybody then knows that what you've just said is correct. And you can maybe go and do some research afterwards and find other things that are interesting on that line with them. So it's a learning time for all. Here are some funny things to do with your lunchtime snack, even dinner time. Turning your bread into animals or birds or insects just by cutting and placing on your piece of bread, on your piece of toast, and so you can have fun. Ever made an ice cream? You want to give them egg, you want to give them tomato, cucumber, and you've got a slice of bread. Make it into an ice cream. Wow, I have an ice cream today for lunch. Mom will be horrified until they hear that the top of the ice cream was actually egg, and cucumber and tomato was the different flavors. It was lime flavor, it was strawberry flavor, and so on. And then you can then have that as some fun. How about making your meatball and spaghetti into faces? How many faces, how many different hairstyles can you create using your spaghetti before you eat it? You can also have different color spaghetti by adding a touch of food coloring to the water when you're cooking your spaghetti. You end up with the most beautiful colors, and you can, if you are feeling really creative before they come, you can cook different spaghettis in little pots and then take that out, and you can have rainbow spaghetti. And that is also awesome. They're very happy to eat their rainbow spaghetti. You can make your buns into butterflies. You can make little witches' brooms if it's going to be Halloween, with just using a cheese straw and some cheese that you've cut into just feathered at the bottom, wind it round. You've now got a broomstick. Your toast, instead of just a piece of salami and cheese in some toast, why don't you make a face? Look at that awesome creature with his teeth hanging out and his tongue, which is the salami, your cucumber for your eyes, and olive for the eyes, and away you go. So they can start creating fun creatures. They can start making their favorite cartoon animals. If they're into pirates and princesses and mermaids, make a pirate ship, make a mermaid. Make an animal if they are into animals. Make SpongeBob. the sky's the limit as to what you can make with just a simple slice of bread and a few pieces of lettuce, zucchini, cucumber. All those can just turn it into little pieces of sausage, also work very nicely, slices of cheese. Those are all things you need. They're all healthy, and you can make these amazing characters. Any questions? Any ideas? Right. Now, some more fun ideas that you can do. If you've only got little biscuits and you want to use little biscuits, it doesn't make any difference. You can make pigs and dogs and hedgehogs, birds of all descriptions, just by placing the pieces of carrot or pieces of any of the other things, and you're able to make it. They are simple and easy. Use either some mayo or cream cheese as your base in order to get the pieces to stick.
Oh,
Have you got a
really neat ideas you're coming up with. I'm really enjoying listening to them.
Oh, good. I'm delighted. But it's also fun if you're having friends over. You know, when you're having a couple of friends over and you do your snacks like this, it becomes a focal talking point. And your friends say, oh, I never thought of doing something like that. This is novel. This is unique. This is different.
Yeah.
And so it doesn't have to only be for children. It can be for adults as well. And you'll find they'll say, oh, haven't you got some crackers? Can I make one? And then you can even put out on the table, and then everybody else. And as you are having your tea or whatever, you can actually discuss, oh, look what I made. I made this funny creature. What's that you've made over there? And it becomes a fun experience for yourself and your friends. So everything that I do can also be used for adults. You can turn it into such fun things.
Yeah, even some of the zucchini type of snacks, I know I would eat them.
Well, as I say, my zucchini, my husband and I often have the zucchini pizza at lunchtime. It's such an easy, simple thing to make, and it's so delicious to eat. So yeah, very good to eat and have for that. Right, sausages. Why eat a sausage just as a sausage, particularly the little ones, those little ones we have at parties? Chop them in half, cut them into at the top. Just cut it into 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, and you've got 8 little legs. Squash it down slightly using a toothpick. Prick the skin, it makes the eyes, and then put your sauce nearby, and there your little octopus are able to, or octopi, all sitting on the plate. A fun, different way to do. Your fruit on a skewer, making a color combination when you playing with younger ones, make them make a pattern: blue, green, red, blue, green, red, yellow, blue, green, red, blue, green, red, yellow, and they see how many they can put, and they do them in a pattern form. To them, it's just fun, but they're actually learning to follow a pattern or follow a sequence. But you're not doing it as a lesson, you're doing it as a fun, moving experience with them. Another lovely snack, not only for children, again for adults as well, is to take some cucumber, put a little bit of cheese, little piece of ham or salami in between, another little piece of cheese, and at the top another piece of your cucumber. This is now a mini sami. And so you put a toothpick through it, and it's just bite size or 2 bite size, and it's delicious. It hasn't got the bread content, but it's got all the nutrition and looks like a sandwich. And so it is a fun thing to be able to create. So creating all these different things makes it into something really interesting and fun to have as a talking point on your table. And tasty. We often, if we're feeling a bit peckish in the afternoon, will make these and have them with a cup of coffee or a cup of tea and just our little mini Sami with it. So it's a lovely thing to do. Right. Any questions or queries before we finally come to an end? When I send out the email, you will get there's a link to a feedback. If you've got any extra ideas or other things you would like to see or hear or do, please feel free to let me know or let Get Set Up know, and then we'll be able to add them to make your experience even better than it was the first time, hopefully. And you can request a recording. Oh, it seems to have moved on my screen at help@getsetup.io. And I will send you an email with some of the recipes on it afterwards. So it's there for you to be able to use. Any questions? Let me just stop sharing. Any questions or any things that you would like to ask or say?
Thank you very much. I learned quite a bit, and I look forward to listening to more of your lessons, I guess you could call them, your classes.
Yeah, my classes. Yeah. Oh, I don't know whether to call them lessons or classes either. Yeah, there are 18 altogether. So there's quite a variety for you to be able to see and do and have. So yeah, there's some for children, some for adults, some on animals. So there's a real variety of things to be able to learn. And thank you, Nancy, so much for being part of the class as well. Nancy is my TA today. She was here to help me if there were any problems or anything else. Much appreciated that you were with us as well.
Oh, well, thank you very much again.
It's a pleasure, Susan. Lovely to have had you in class. Have a great whereabouts are you from, Susan?
I'm in California, United States.
So it must be about 7 o'clock at night?
It's about 3:45 in the afternoon.
Oh, lovely. So it's early afternoon. That's excellent. Yeah, no, we are just on our way to 7 o'clock in the morning. So it's bright and breezy.
Are you
I'm in Australia.
Australia. Okay, fantastic. Well, have a wonderful day.
I will do, and have a lovely afternoon and evening. Thank you so much. Have a lovely time. Bye.
Bye-bye.